Hello, my dear students. How are you? We are going to talk today about accountancy, and this subject is very dear to me. And you are students of 12th class. And in 12th class, book 1, the first part, is on partnership and companies. And the second part is analysis of financial statements. In the first part, we have partnership and the accounts of companies. In companies' accounts, there is issue of shares, forfeiture of shares, reissue of forfeited shares. And the second part is the issue of debentures and redemption of debentures. I have generally found that the students are a little shaky in redemption of debentures, and that's what I'm going to talk on today. The redemption of debentures. My dear students, the business needs a lot of money to expand. It requires a lot of money to introduce more products. It needs money for additional machinery. It needs money for buildings, for factories, and for many other things. In the process of expansion, the business needs money. And sometimes the capital is not enough. The amount contributed by the shareholders is not enough. And it's a long procedure to get money from the shareholders, issuing the shares, and then getting from the shareholders. Therefore, the companies generally go in for getting loans. Either they get loans from financial institutions or from banks, or else it issues debentures to the public. The companies are allowed to issue debentures of many types. The debentures are redeemable after a long time. This is a long-term finance. The companies can keep the money for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, whatever the term it requires money. And it agrees to pay interest on the debentures. And company also assures the public that their money is safe with us. And it will be returned to you. It will be redeemed. It will be repaid after 5 years. Moreover, the companies also assure them that if you need money before, we can pay that also. The company can pay the money back in installments also. Every year, every 2 years, or every 3 years, as it is convenient to the people. So the company gets money, and the lenders, the debenture holders, their money is earning interest for them. That way, both the debenture holders as well as the company, both are gainers. Yes, it's very easy to get money and also to promise that they will pay back. Now, how to pay back? That is the point. How to pay back the money? Is it that the company is going to keep the same money which they got from the debenture holders and put the money in the locker, and after 5 years the same money is taken out and given back to the debenture holders? This will be a foolish approach. Why the hell did you get money if you have to put it in the locker? It has to be invested in the business so that the business earns at a higher rate that the debenture holders are getting. So therefore, the company promises to pay back. That's fine. Now, how should it pay back, and from which source it should pay back? First one is ruled out. That is not the same money. It has to be invested in the business. Once the money is invested in the business, the cycle will start. Which cycle? the profit earning cycle. The company will invest in such a way that the company earns some profit out of it. And purpose is this: the money is invested to earn profit. But there may not be profit, there may be profit, but if the efforts in the right direction are made, profit will be there. The best source for redemption of debentures, the best source of repayment of debentures, the best source for returning the money to the debentures is the profits. The company should endeavor, work hard, earn profits, and out of those profits, money should be paid back to the debenture holders. That will be the wonderful thing which the company should do. And if the company doesn't earn profit, even then it has to ensure that on the due date, when the date comes on which the company had promised to pay, the money should be paid back to the debenture holders. The debenture holders are not concerned with this, if the company is earning profit or not. They are concerned with the service of the debenture. You know what is service of the debenture? Service of the debenture is that the company pays interest regularly and the company pays the amount due on the due date, on the maturity date. These two things are properly done, we say the debentures holders are well served. So on due date, the amount has to be paid. And if there are no profits, even then it is to be paid. Then from where will they pay? Then we say either the money is paid out of profits, and if it is not paid out of profits, then it is paid, my dear students, out of capital. So redemption of debentures, and we are discussing the source. There are two sources. One is out of capital, the other is out of profits. If it is not out of profits, it is out of capital. Out of capital may be the shareholders' money, which the company got from the shareholders. That money is paid back to the, or in order to pay the debenture holders, the company borrows from the banks. They get money from other sources, borrow it from the banks to pay to the debenture, borrow it from X to pay to Y. Not that they have earned profit, but they have borrowed from other source to pay the payment of this. That also is be treated as payment out of capital, and if it is profit, it's out. And the best source, as I told you, is this one, out of profits. What is to be done? Look here, try to understand the latest development I'm going to share with you on this account. Earlier, before 2013, in 2012, 11, 110, all years, there is an institution in our country which is known as SEBI. SEBI is Securities Exchange Board of India. Securities, repeat, Exchange Board of India. This body was exercising a control on this factor. It has told the companies, those who are getting money by issuing debentures, it had told the companies that look here, you have to redeem the debentures only out of profits. And they told in very clear terms that you must keep minimum of 50% of the amount which you have to refund in a special account. What is that special account? That special account is, my dear students, we call it DRR. DRR is Debenture Redemption Reserve. This was what SEBI had directed before T013. It had told all the companies that minimum 50% of the amount payable, if the debentures are for 10 lakhs, they must have a DRR for 5 lakhs. Only then they can start a redemption. Now, where from the DRR is? This DRR will be made out of profits. This will be made out of profits. Which profits? The profits available for dividend. Available for dividend. The company earns profits. It pays taxes. After paying the taxes, the profit is available for the dividend. And the SEBI told the companies, out of the profits available for dividend, please transfer about 50% of the amount due to be paid to DRR and don't use it for any other purpose except for redemption of. This was the direction of SEBI. 50%. But you know, my dear student, what the companies were doing? They were not adhering to 50%. Some of them were keeping 100%. And SEBI said, I don't mind. Minimum is 50. It can be more than 50. That was there. But in this, there is a change from 2013. From 2013, a new Companies Act has come into being. According to the new Companies Act, which has come into effect from 2013, that is, the Companies Act this act lays down in a section. Earlier it was not there in the Companies Act. Now it is section 71 4, subsection 4 of section 71. Remember this. It must be remembered by you, and you have to write it in the examination that this is the section which is relevant of Indian Companies Act 2013. And it says that every company which issues debentures must maintain a DRR. Must maintain a DRR, and it should be used only for redemption and for no other purpose at all. Very clear direction, and anybody who does not follow our law is punishable. Of course, it goes without saying. So therefore, this is section 1. And then the same section, subsection 13, is another important thing. Under this section, the Parliament, Lok Sabha, allowed the government to frame rules how this section will be applied, how to ensure that the companies do this. कैसे करना है कि कंपनीज ये रिजर्व बनाएं, कैसे करना है कि प्रॉफिट में से डीआर बनाएं, ये रूल्स बनाने के लिए subsection 13 of section 71 has been inserted for the first time. And then that was done in 2013. In 2014, the government of India has come out with the rules, and those rules are under rule number 18. Rule number 18, sub rule 7. This has to be studied carefully and followed. Now that this has come into being, into effect, and it is applicable, everybody has to follow the rules, and the companies which do not follow will be punishable under this act. Now, sub rule 7 of this, what does it say? It says the same thing, that all companies will create DRR, excepting two. One is banks, the other is All India Financial Institutions. These two are exempted. No other exemption. You have to remember this. This is under this. No other exemption, only two exemptions I have told you. One is banks, other is All India Financial Institutions. These two are exempt. No other company is exempt. Another important change which has come into effect is that under this rule, all companies will now create a DRR compulsorily not less than 25%. SEBI's rule is 50%. It still stands. But Companies Act, rule number 7, rule number 7 of rule 18, it says, इनको तो नहीं करना. All other companies will be minimum 25% of the amount to be redeemed. It must be kept in the DRR. It is not as strict as 50%, but again, more than this, allowed. 40 is allowed, 50 is allowed, 70 is 80, 100% is allowed. This is the minimum. This discloses the intention of the government. What is the intention? To ensure that the companies should earn profit with the borrowed money. Money must not be misused. So therefore 25% of the amount due this year, it should be before starting. Another important point, please remember this also. Before starting, all this is to be done before you start redemption. Rather, before you think of starting redemption, this must be done 25% minimum. It is to be done before starting, not that on the date, before start of redemption of debentures, 25% before start of redemption of debentures. This is what the Companies Act says. This is what the rule number 18, sub rule 7 says. And my dear students, one more thing I want to tell you about this. Earlier, DRR was made, 50% is made, and you know how DRR, try to understand the concept of DRR once again. Only then you will follow this. Here is a balance sheet. I am writing it as a horizontal form just to explain this. Now the balance sheet is prepared in the vertical form. These are my assets, including cash and bank also. These are my assets, say they are 5 lakhs. And here is my capital, say 1 lakh. And my profits are 4 lakhs. This is my balance sheet, just to explain. This is my balance sheet. So that the total is 5 lakhs, both sides. Okay? Right. Now, the Act wants that every company must have a DRR. Say there are debentures also. There are debentures 1 lakh. And the profits are 3 lakhs. I change it a little. These debentures are to be redeemed 1 lakh. And a DRR is to be made out of this. Okay? Out of this, there is a DRR. Profit stands reduced to 2 lakhs and 1 lakh ka idhar DRR ban gaya. Here comes DRR. So DRR is made. How it is made? It is entry is profit is debit to DRR. This is in simple terms. Profit is debit, profit is reduced and DR comes up. बन गया DRR. Now, it may happen on the due date, say on 15th of December is the due date. On due date, इधर पैसा ही है नहीं. पैसा तो यहाँ से देना है. There is no cash. Entire money, maximum money has been invested in assets. Building है खरीद ली, machine खरीद ली. You don't have money. You do not have money. So how to pay back the money? That is the problem which the companies faced. DR did not come up to the objective. The objective was that money is paid back after the debentures mature. On the date of maturity, पैसा ही नहीं है. New Companies Act and the rules under the New Companies Act, they take care of this. Most important point in the rules, please remember this. Rule 18, in Rule 18, Sub-Rule 7, C part says, very interesting thing. That, say this is the timeline. This is 31st of March 2015. This is 1st of April 2014. And this is 1 year. ये है year. The debentures are to be redeemed here. यहाँ redemption होनी है. This is the redemption date. And Part C of rule number 18, sub-rule 7, it says, what does it say? It says every company before 30th of April, date has been given in the rule. Every company before 30th of April will have an FD, एक fixed deposit बनाए, FD. Or there are other unencumbered investments. Unencumbered investment means free investments. Must have an FD on or before date. How much? Not less than 15%. Not less than 15% of the amount to be redeemed on this date. If the amount to be redeemed on this date is 1 lakh, 15% of 1 lakh, 15,000 की एक FD बन जानी चाहिए. So that on the redemption date, the company does not find this situation कि cash ही नहीं है. एक FD, and this FD, it has been stated, will not be used for any other purpose. It will be used only and only for the sake of redemption of debentures. So, my dear students, this is the provision of the New Companies Act regarding debenture redemption reserve. The Company Act seems to be very strict on this. It tells the companies, pay back the money and pay back the money only out of profits. And in order to ensure this, it has fixed a lower limit, minimum limit of 25% of the amount to be redeemed of the debentures, and 15% of the, it can be more than, it is minimum 15% should be kept in the, look here, if the companies start doing this, it will add to the goodwill of the companies. They will not face such a situation. They have promised to make the payment that there is no cash. The liquidity will be there, the company will be able to pay. So please learn these provisions of the New Companies Act while redeeming the debentures, and the debentures should be redeemed out of profits only. Thank you very much.